Heyo, it's Magic 8 Ball. Splatoon players do a lot of things subconsciously, a lot of things we've learned over the course of time playing our game. In this session, I talk with a student about specifically how to understand those things, pay attention to them, and then actively improve on them so that they can get better. In the last video, there were some comments about my audio mixing on TikTok. If the audio mixing is okay, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe. I'm going to be doing this consistently if you want to learn more. And I hope everybody has an awesome Thanksgiving. I'll catch you at the end of the video. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do this time is I'm going to look at the compositions. Because if you look at the compositions, it's going to give you a general sense of how you should play during the match. Not only just so that you understand what you're matching up against, but also understand what your team will be able to do. You have two blasters. They're not going to be the first ones moving up, especially if you don't have paint on the ground. You're probably going to need to be the one stepping up with the dually squelchers, who might not even do that. You might be having to put down the paint. But you're also going to be going up against some really long-range opponents in the Stringer and the Stamper. So you need to be careful when you're stepping up, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to start whacking you as soon as you get in their range. So it's going to be a very delicate dance. You really do like to play this block, which I think is important. Like, that's in such a power position for Slosher, especially because of the accuracy. Like, you're going to be able to jump off of that wall, like surge up, and just tear things apart. Now, after that first checkpoint, you need to move off of this wall and in front of tower. The reason why this power position is even good in the first place is because it defends against the important spots for the first checkpoint. But once you get to the second checkpoint, that's when things get a little bit different. You need to start, because this spot isn't as nearly as much of a power position, because it should have already been cleared, right? Instead, you need to be looking more towards... You need to be looking more towards this position. And, like, over in this area. Because those are going to be the actual pivot points for this checkpoint. To start walling them out. And your teammates are doing a good job of that. But you're kind of... You're very passive in this game, is what I'm seeing. I don't like you leaving this position, if that makes sense. I think that your position here is perfect. As soon as you dip over towards this area, you're in a much more precarious situation, and people are going to start shooting down at you, especially because this wall is here. Like, that means that this is a no-go. Like, you should just... You can be fine right here, peek out, toss a bomb, dip back. And it would have had the same effect. And you even dip back behind here anyways. But during that brief moment where you dipped out to decide to swim around, you left yourself vulnerable to getting hit. Like right here, if the gal decides to start shooting in your general direction, like right now, you're dead. Even though it was a bad jump, your teammate did jump into you here. And honestly, this is a very fine position. It's actually pretty safe, because you always have the opportunity to dump. Right? But right now, you have a chance to just start walling right here. This isn't a good color. You have a chance to just start walling them out right here. Because they're not there yet. You throw a bomb. You essentially can start contesting this choke point a little bit early. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the tower is still right here. If somebody gets on that thing right now, and you're contesting this, you probably ride that to a knockout. Or at least you have a chance to. I guess I should explain it a little bit further. your team can still make bad plays, like jumping in there, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go along with it. Like, just because it's the wrong thing doesn't mean that you need to abandon it. Like, if you can help your teammates while they're doing bad things, and because the enemy team makes a mistake, because they weren't expecting the play, or because you guys were able to win the fight, or what have you, it's better than the alternative, which is just letting your teammate die. Like, if you had gone towards up here to try and contest around it, you actually would have won that engagement, I think. Right? And then they would have baited you would have baited them in here. Like, you would have been able to at least somewhat meet back up with your team. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. At the end of the day, it's still a team game. And for the past probably like half a minute, you were very much focused on making individual plays. Like back here, instead of trying to collapse with this Clash Blaster, who's currently in the middle of a fight, this isn't a good color, who has a person marked right underneath his ledge that you can easily pincer and create an advantageous fight, you shark in mid. You say, wait a minute, there's people here, I'm scared, I don't know if I can do this. And then you take a 2v1 instead of what could have potentially been a 2v1 in your favor. And even though you do get a pick, now you waste Trip Strike to try and get out of the situation. You don't even get a pick off of it because there are still 2 people in mid. And that's one of your most important displacement specials that can clear tower, done, gone, and you died for it. Like, it's not that you aren't aware necessarily, but it's that your brain just can't keep up with everything, right? Like, it's trying to track everything. But instead of trying to track everything, you need to be able to track the important things. And this is something we can get into later, but noticing the key areas and focusing your attention there is what's going to probably alleviate some of those issues. Because if you think, like, oh, they're pushing right now, I need to focus on the key area that's in front of that checkpoint, right, that we talked about, where the snipe and the block and everything is. That's the key area. That's the area we need to control. I should be looking over there. I think another component of it is, like, and I was talking with Raze about this, and Power, 2 very powerful players and good thinkers of the game. Everyone is smart outside of the game. It's just about finding a way to train yourself in-game to use those smarts at all times, to have that same kind of functioning brain power, because a lot of it is being spent trying to aim and make good shots and everything, but, like, I think you need to just focus on the higher level stuff and not focus as much on landing your shots. So do you want to know what the difference is between this play and the play that you made up in their base? Nothing.
Yeah.
You made the same exact play twice, except this time the 52 didn't screw up.
Oh.
That was what changed. The 52 made the adjustment. You made a bad play, didn't recognize that it was the wrong play, and then did it again, and now you got punished for it. Right?
Yeah.
This is what I mean when I say, like, adapting sooner, and, like, after each and every death, taking a moment to think about what just happened is the most important thing in every game. Because if you take a moment after that death, and you're not focused on, like, oh, what can we do next? I'm gonna jump on the tower. Like, Why did I die there? I shouldn't have died there. I was in a very good position. Oh, I shouldn't have been challenging the Gal in front of his wall. Then this doesn't happen. Like, you do well. So, funny enough, you do what I was talking about earlier. Remember I was talking about, like, shoot twice, strafe, shoot twice? You just did that. Right? Like, that's what you did. And because of that, you ended up winning that fight.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't even notice it.
Right, exactly. Like that's kind of why I wanted to bring it to your attention, right? Is because it's kind of one of those, like, Splatoon is just a very intuitive game. There's a lot that we do that's already very good. It's just that we don't understand it, verbalize it, implement it consciously. And that's the issue, is because we can implement it when our fingers are moving fast and when we're thinking, and when we're not thinking, we're in that flow state and everything, but you're not going to have that all the time. Right? Like, you're not going to be playing at your best all the time. But if you can take things that you've done while you were playing at your best, train them, implement them consciously, so that you're doing them, I don't want to say unconsciously, but like so that you're doing them, I'm trying to think of the word, but almost as they come as second nature, right? Like, you know, like, oh, I need to, like, I'm about to take this engagement, I'm going to walk up, shoot twice, strafe, shoot twice, and if that doesn't work out, I need to change up my game plan for next time, instead of just flow state. Because a lot of the time, you won't have that. And a lot of the time, your flow state won't work. Right? Especially once you get up to those higher ranks. You're going to need to start thinking before every single engagement how you can win it.